All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It was kind of a little hard today. I don't know why, this software loves to just give me a challenge right before my show's about to start. So let's just, get right on into it. Thank you guys for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today lined up. We have our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We have our WWE NXT preview. We're talking about Liv Morgan and her aspirations about going to Hollywood. We have Today in Wrestling History, May 21st. And to kind of cap it all off, as I promised, we have our women's wrestling power ranking that we're going to definitely get into. But before we start any of this, want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link. We get a number of questions that come in from viewers like you during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Give me your questions. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to talk about as wrestling fans. Give me your opinions, your thoughts. Even shout out the town you're from. Like, hell, like, why the F not? Like, screw it. So I think that's pretty cool. So once again, it really helps the show, guys. A positive review. Peace, love, and positivity here at the GSMC Sports Network all the time. Again, the link is the GSMC, podcast.net. So yeah, let's go and jump on into our first segment. We have our WWE Monday Night Raw review. First, we're going to start off with Sami Zayn coming out. Sami Zayn obviously is a huge babyface Intercontinental Champion. Definitely one of the best to do it. Love the fact that Sami Zayn is, just out there antagonizing his competitors, getting the crowd on his side, and that's a miracle. That's a miracle because Sami Zayn, when he was with the Bloodline, and before that, his career was kind of heading toward kind of like a bad direction. It kind of seemed like his career was kind of going toward, much like Finn Balor's, where you kind of had your 30 seconds of fame, you got hurt, ultimately trying to come back. WWE doesn't really have your back. At least that's how it was under Vince McMahon. But Sami Zayn right now is kind of pulling the comeback kid, and I absolutely love it. I love that he actually won the match for the Intercontinental Championship to dethrone Gunther's 666-day reign as the Intercontinental Champion. So I thought that was cool. And Sami Zayn went out basically guaranteeing that he will be victorious. And then, of course, Chad Gable had to come out and kind of, give the fans and the WWE roster his kind of, his taste, his 2 cents, kind of his take and perspective on things, saying that, Sammy, you couldn't beat me without my guidance at WWE WrestleMania 40. I ultimately was the reason why you beat Gunther. And it was just, total wrestling fandom. Love this kayfabe going on. And he, it was kind of crazy because he came out and he immediately started grilling Alpha Academy. He was like, these three clowns standing behind me, which was Maxine Dupree, Otis, and Akira Tozawa. And he was just grilling them. It was crazy. He said, Sami Zayn, like, I'm not just taking your heart and soul and your championship. No, he said, I'm not taking just your championship. I'm taking your soul. Kind of reminds me of like Mortal Kombat. If any of you guys watched the first couple of Mortal Kombat movies with Shang Tsung, and he's like, I'm coming for your soul. So that's what it kind of reminded me of. It was kind of funny. It's kind of cool. Definitely something that, was different. So loved it. Love that promo. So then you have Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable. Alpha Academy they refuse to cheat. They refuse to cheat to help Sami Zayn ultimately win the match. So I thought that was pretty admirable in terms of that. And also you saw Otis being slapped again. It was pretty crazy, and Otis did eventually get involved in terms of that. But he was, I don't know, he was very reluctant into, attacking Sami Zayn, which was kind of, it's kind of pretty sad. You kind of have Otis trying to be the best, trying to be a true competitor in terms of wrestling. And then, obviously it shied away because Chad Gable is kind of being a jerk right now, kind of being that heel role, which is, exactly what WWE is trying to do. Overall, I hate it. I think it's dumb. I think it's terrible. I think this is kind of like bad booking because, especially me during the Attitude Era growing up, and I saw the Ruthless Aggression era. Like, I just, this kind of stuff, it's happened before. It's happened before. It's nothing like, nothing too crazy, nothing too shocking about it. I hated how Chad Gable went heel and the way they're kind of doing it. I kind of thought there was a sliver of chance for it to kind of work, but Chad Gable's being pushed as a heel. I feel like too much. I feel like too much to the point where it's diminishing his values and diminishing his ability to actually be thought of like as an actual competitor in wrestling because I feel like he does that within a shit ton. He deserves to, he deserves to have the Intercontinental Championship on him. Like I've said that before, and I feel like WWE's definitely, they were booking Sammy, and they ultimately, like, got a little, smoked a little bit of the Sami Zayn hash in their crack pipe or whatever. I'm just kidding, no, but no, like I feel like Chad Gable is being, I think it's kind of being badly booked. And I'm pretty sure there's obviously some people that are like, oh, Eric, what are you talking about? But I don't know. I just feel like the way they're doing it, yeah, it's cool that you're making them a heel, but is it cool to kind of make the heel as such like a failure? The only way they're going to be able to win is cheating. But Chad Gable honestly did train Sami Zayn for his match with Gunther in WrestleMania. So I feel like there should be a little credit due the fact that Chad Gable kind of helped them out. But now they kind of just totally went rogue. They're like, we're gonna have Chad be a big POS, and I guess that's what they're kind of running with. Absolutely disagree. I kind of hate it, kind of disgusted by it, but should be interesting to see furthermore. Um, so yeah. Anyways, so like I said, I hated it. So next we had another thing that I hated. We had Braun Breaker and his Raw debut. Ultimately, it was a squash match. Hated it. I absolutely thought it was dumb. And well, before that, the LWO looked like they were, kind of, finding. I feel like they're getting like victimized too much, and I don't want to sound like kind of a jerk because I just because you had someone attack him before, then you had Dragon Lee, and then I just feel like the LWO was always kind of like on the crap end of the stick here. When in reality, they have a really good tag team, and they have Rey Mysterio, obviously. Now they have Andrade. And honestly, I feel like they should be more, prominent in WWE than that little side thing. They're like, oh, let's let somebody get injured and stuff like that. And yeah, no, definitely kind of crazy, definitely kind of weird. And then Braun Breaker came out, another squash match. A great wrestler that honestly, I don't know. I love Braun Breaker. I love the fact that he came from NXT, but ultimately, I don't like him in these squash matches because I feel like ultimately, you know, speaking from past perspectives, have you ever, ever, ever seen a successful, great wrestler wrestle in like a squash match? Like you had Braun Strowman do it a whole bunch of times, and then now you have Braun Breaker, and it's just like I feel like squash matches don't really help the cause of the superstar, or like try to help him gain popularity. So I don't know why WWE still does that. Like it'd be cool to see Braun Breaker in a match where at least he got kind of put to his limits, where maybe he was put into submission, or maybe someone got like a 2 count or something like that. But dude, why are you doing squash matches? Squash matches do not help the WWE, does not help the superstar, and quite frankly, I think it just diminishes their credibility. So I thought squash matches were over with the Vince McMahon era, but it's still kind of hanging around with the Paul Levesque era, which is kind of troublesome. But we'll move on. Even the referee was like, they want to call off the match. They want to call off the match, and it was just I don't know. I don't know. It was just kind of really dumb. So now let's kind of move on to the Queen of the Ring match. We had Becky Lynch had a pump up speech with Lyra Valkyria. Io Sky and Lyra Valkyria, definitely one of the best women's wrestling matches this year. It broke over 18 minutes, which was a record for women's wrestling. Love that. Definitely they deserve that. Leo Sky trying to make it to the Queen of the Ring, trying to win it, ultimately trying to get back to her superstardom where she was the WWE Women's Champion. And Lyra Valkyria, man, she's been absolutely dynamite. Definitely Rookie of the Year, MVP, and she's her already from just debuting, being drafted a couple weeks ago. So honestly, no matter what happens to Lyra Valkyria, it's been a nice little, it's been a nice little run. Definitely has a bright future ahead of her. I don't know if she's going to fight Nia Jax or Bianca Belair. I know recently Bianca Belair has confirmed that, her rumors with pregnancy and stuff like that. Still, it's rumors. We don't know if it's completely true until it comes out of Belair's mouth. So I don't really like to, kind of, talk about rumors that much, so oftenly. But unless it's under our rumors, skit, unless it's under one of my segments. Other than that, I don't really like to touch on that. So it should be pretty interesting to see what to do with the Queen of the Ring finals. You have Lyra Valkyria representing Monday Night Raw, so it should be pretty awesome. It should be pretty cool. Um, Next, you saw Ilya Dragunov and Ricochet kind of talking. Ricochet was telling Ilya that he should not, keep your head down, bro. Good times are coming. You're a talented superstar. And then Ricochet was attacked by Braun Breaker. Another stupid promo. Absolutely dumb. Hated it. And then you had the WWE tag team match. You had Judgment Day against Awesome Truth. It was pretty cool. Uh, the truth, when around the truth killings, or but kind of said he spoke to Andre the Giant, and that he like had his back and stuff like that. But ultimately, you saw Braun Strowman come out. I kind of knew that he was going to like he was going to be the one to kind of be that Andre the Giant kind of person. So I don't know. It just seemed kind of cool. Kind of seemed pretty interesting. But ultimately, I knew they were going to retain the moment they were talking about. Oh, I spoke to Andre the Giant. He said he has our back. And this is like Andre the Giant. He's passed, bro. Like, what are you talking about? And when I heard that, I was like, okay. And, obviously they mean Braun Strowman. Next, you see Liv Morgan toying with Lyra Valkyria, getting in her head before Queen of the Ring, and ultimately giving her a nice little like taste on the lips. You know what I mean? Um, then Becky Lynch came out, and Liv Morgan tried to come out and cut a good promo. Ultimately, wasn't the best. I feel like it was pretty bad. I feel like the promo was pretty bad, and Liv Morgan still, I root for her. You guys think I hate Liv Morgan, but I don't. I root for her to succeed in the WWE, but she just can't cut a good promo. I just feel like it's not meant to be within the WWE for her. Maybe she's better off in Hollywood, which we will talk about in our segment 3. But I don't know. I'm not, like I said, not trying to be mean. She's a respected wrestler. She's a respected person. I love Liv Morgan. I'm a fan, but ultimately, as a wrestling fan, I'm not totally in love with the idea of Liv Morgan representing the company. So, anyways, so we had the Judgment Day losing. Damian Priest said, and I quote, "I don't even recognize this anymore." Kind of telling JD McDonough, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio that, guys, it's not the same thing. You don't have the same level of success without Rhea Ripley, without being the tag team champions. And even Finn Balor said before they went out there to fight, I was kind of hoping and kind of wishing it was you. Maybe this Civil War, or maybe this fight between Finn and Damian might not happen. I think ultimately, I think Finn Balor kind of sees it and kind of is like, you know what? I might want out of the Judgment Day too. And I know there were speculations and rumors, and I think there was an article written on Ringside News that Dominic Mysterio actually says he wants out of Judgment Day too. So it's everybody wants to get out. Everybody has their own thing. Everybody kind of wants to take a step in a different direction. Why fight it? Why try to keep something together that's not working? Obviously, if it's not working, you're not fooling the fans. You're not fooling the other wrestlers, and you're definitely not fooling kayfabe, bro. So, definitely something that needs to be kind of broken out sooner than later. Because honestly, as an audience member, I used to like seeing the Judgment Day come out. I used to like seeing Finn Balor come out. I used to love seeing Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, despite Dirty Dom, Jenny McDonough joining, and the whole thing with our Truth, and it was Damian Priest. It was cool. It was cool, but like it's kind of lost its value. So I think it's eventually it's time to move on. It's gonna be interesting to see how they do it, but WWE definitely will make it worth that. Next, we have a fatal 4-way match for the number 1 contendership for the WWE World Women's Tag Team Championships. You saw Damage Control. You saw Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark against Carter and Chance, Maxine Dupree, and Ivy Nile. It was a good match. It was a good match all in all, but I kind of knew Shayna Baszler, excuse me, and Ivy Nile would kind of pick up the victory, because I feel like they're if anybody could dethrone Belair and Cargyle, I think it's them. I think it's Zoe. I think it's Baszler. Definitely great superstars. I kind of wish I would have saw Zoe kind of move forward within the WWE Queen of the Ring. Didn't really happen, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how they're booked from here on out. Next, we saw Karrion Kross, who confronted, Kofi Kingston last week. He confronted Xavier Woods now. What's the big deal? Like, that's crazy. Like, why does this keep happening? Will you possibly see like kind of like a dark side of the New Day? Maybe. I don't know. It could happen. It'd be interesting to kind of see how that kind of works out. And you saw Drew McIntyre. And you can, I don't know, Drew McIntyre cut a, he cut a promo. Obviously CM Punk is in there and he's injured. There's not really much he can do. And honestly, you can tell that the people kind of want Drew. Kind of, he's a good heel. He really is. But I think Drew McIntyre kind of needs to step up to not be the heel or the babyface, kind of be like this generation's Randy Orton. And I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but I feel like Drew McIntyre, he's so talented and he can get the crowd behind his back and he's so electric. It'd be kind of stupid not to kind of put him in that position. Kind of putting him in a heel role would be absolutely, detrimental to his character, and putting him as such a total babyface would be bad. So honestly, I feel like it'd be best to kind of have Drew McIntyre kind of out there, pursuing his own passions, pursuing his own accomplishments and glory. And if he makes an enemy along the way, so be it. So next, we're gonna finish off with Jey Uso against Gunther. Hell of a match, amazing match. Absolutely loved it in the main event of Monday Night Raw. And this just shows, like, although Jey Uso lost, Jey Uso's ready. Jey Uso's ready, and Gunther is just absolutely levels above. I feel like he will be either Randy Orton or Tama Tonga. There probably will be maybe like a storyline aspect of it to the reason why Gunther would probably lose to either. But I was looking forward to Jey versus Tama Tonga to kind of have like a bloodline civil war happening a little early, kind of just like a taste, like a foreshadow of what's going to happen in the future. But obviously we didn't get that. We got Gunther moving on to fight either Tama Tonga and Randy Orton. We will find out on WWE SmackDown in Greensboro, North Carolina, happening on Friday. So hope you don't go anywhere, guys. Our next segment, we're going to talk about our WWE NXT preview. So hey, absolutely stay glued to your chair, grab a drink, and grab a snack because your boy Eric is coming right back.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about. We talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw review, and now we're going to talk about WWE NXT preview happening tonight on the USA Network. So let's go ahead and move on into it today. We have NXT at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando. We had Joe Kofi replacing the injured Ivar, and yes, according to sources and according to his social media, Ivar is indeed injured. He's not just, taking some time off. Although, like, even if it was, like, who would give a damn? Like, you know what I mean? So now we have Kofi against Briggs against Lee. Winner will face Oba Femi for the North American Championship at NXT Battleground. Kind of giving, my 2 cents about the whole situation. I honestly really don't want Wes Lee to win. And I'm not trying to sound like, a total jerk, because you kind of had Josh Briggs in there. He already fought Oba Femi. You had Joe Kofi, like, new guy. So it's kind of predetermined that Wes Lee will pick up the win. But if he does, he better not win that North American Championship at NXT Battleground. That would be totally terrible. That'd be detrimental to the fans of the WWE because, it's cool he came back. He was fine to a wheelchair, and he, was partially paralyzed. I'm like I get it. Like that's I I I feel for you. I feel for you, but mostly like I feel like WWE don't really want to kind of play like the hero ball so much. And I'm totally not trying to, dog on any of like the comeback story of this guy. I'm not trying to say he doesn't deserve to eventually come back and be the North American champion. But honestly, right now, it's just not his time. You have a big guy like Oba Femi. I loved how Ivar and Josh Briggs were kind of into it. And like, I don't know, then you have this guy that looks totally scrawny, totally small compared to what the North American Championship standard is going to be. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to throw shade at people who don't have like, giant muscles or like who has, pound for pound, encouragement or charisma or whatever. But I just want to see something different as a wrestling fan. Like if you have Wesley go out for the injury, come back, the greatest North American champion, and he comes back and he wins it right back. I don't know. That's just I don't like that. I don't like that. Not because I hate Wesley, not because I hate how he came back to the to WWE, but just I don't know, just out of respect for the North American Championship. Oba Femi has been, he's been holding it down for the longest time, and I feel like it would kind of, discredit the title having Wesley win in, tonight at WWE, NXT Battleground. But ultimately, it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens further than that. Yeah. Next, we have NXT Women's North American Championship qualifying match for the ladder match. Going to an NXT Battleground, we have Brinley Reese will take on Jada Parker. Love Jada Parker. Definitely think that she has the momentum. Definitely think she has the attitude, the in-ring capabilities to kind of push Brinley aside. I don't think Brinley. I feel like this match is going to end probably within the 6 or 8 minute mark. It's going to be a good match, but I think Jada Parker will ultimately, she's going to win. She's going to win. And then we have Fallon Henry against Thea Hale. Thea Hale recently kind of showing, her love for Ridge Holland, and Fallon Henry turning her back on Chase U, beating up Thea Hale, and classic heel versus babyface. I don't really, but and then you have Nyx coming after Thea Hill as well, which makes me think that maybe they might have Fallon Henry pick up the victory here to kind of have this side like little kind of like this rivalry between them, and kind of like keeping Chase U, with the whole Rich Holland thing. Can we trust them? Her like constantly talking in there, be like, yes, we can trust him. He's a good guy, I promise, and stuff like that. So I can see Fallon Henry definitely picking up the victory, picking up the victory, and I can also see Thea Hale picking up the victory as well. So next we see Natalia and Kamara Petrovic against Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good tag team match. These women they've been absolutely crazy, ready to rip each other apart. Wouldn't mind if Ava comes out and tells, you know what, you guys want to beat each other to me. He kind of pulls like a bloodline match in Randy Orton and Kevin Owens and Backlash with Nick Aldis, and how Nick Aldis came out and he was like, you guys want to beat the hell out of each other. This is a no holds barred match, hardcore match. No, uh, no disqualification, this and any other. Would be kind of cool to kind of see that today. It'd be kind of awesome. Wouldn't mind if that happened today, but it might not. But we can always hope and cross our fingers. And next we have what to watch for in WWE NXT tonight. We have Lash Legend and Sol Ruka looking to keep up their momentum flowing. We have Frazier and Axiom looking to keep their tag team titles. You have the Good Brothers going after them. You have more trust issues between JCU and Rich Holland, like I kind of mentioned before. And then you have the No Quarter Catch Crew recently losing their, Heritage Cup, which they're absolutely fierce about because, a couple weeks ago on NXT, you had the Dawn take out and had, Stacks be the special guest referee. Ultimately, like leading toward a match, the frustrations like so. It's going to be interesting to kind of see what Charlie Dempsey and his crew decides to do on tonight's WWE NXT. I can see Javon Evans in a match tonight that will definitely continue to impress the crowd. Definitely the future of WWE NXT, so that's definitely going to be awesome to watch. Lastly, we have Trick Williams. Trick Williams will confront Noam Dar. Noam Dar is strictly and ultimately saying that Trick Williams attacked him before the episode even aired last week. And even Last Legend was like, no, Trick want to do this, Trick want to do this. So now we kind of have an attacker on the loose, usually with an attacker that's, that's not named. It's kind of hidden in the shadows. It's kind of like a huge shock and like maybe like a betrayal kind of thing that could possibly happen. Wouldn't surprise me. But Trick Williams is going to do everything in his power to convince Noam Dar that he wasn't the one to attack him. So yeah, that was my WWE NXT preview. Go ahead and watch it tonight, happening on the USA Network as we speak. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to watch it. It's gonna be awesome. So kind of moving forward, we have our Liv Morgan's Hollywood aspirations. Liv Morgan has recently been in an interview saying that she wants to further, kind of further her acting career. Obviously, stuff in WWE has kind of been, a little up and down, a little imbalanced. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all, kind of works out. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We had our WWE NXT preview. And without further ado, we're going to talk about, Liv Morgan possibly going to Hollywood. But before we move on, I want to remind you guys that we get a lot of questions that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air in front of millions and millions of people, we ask you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMC podcast.net. Give us your questions, give us your concerns, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Once again, it really does help the show. So once again, the link is the GSMC podcast.net. So let's go ahead and get started with this. Let's get it started. I'm just kidding, no. I can't do a good Fergie though. Although, Fergie got nothing on this guy. I'm just kidding. No. Let's go ahead and move on. So we have Liv Morgan's Hollywood aspirations. Love Liv Morgan. Definitely love the way she's been introduced into WWE, especially after, what happened with the Riot Squad and stuff like that. So, let's talk about Liv Morgan's future. In our recent episode of Open Thoughts, Liv Morgan, expressed her aspirations to become an actress. She said, and I quote, I like to try to. I've been fortunate enough to do some outside projects of the WWE in TV and film, and I definitely think this is likely to be my next step. And honestly, I love Liv Morgan. Like, absolutely, I love her. She plays a good underdog. She has solidified herself, her status as one of the most successful and respected performers in the WWE women's division. She's a former women's champion, and she's made appearance in the Kill Room and the Chucky television series. So makes you think what's going to happen to Liv Morgan next. It's gonna, I know like she definitely. I think her contract was renewed back in February. No, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I don't know. I just feel like Liv Morgan. It's been kind of unfortunate. And I've been a huge Liv Morgan fan, but I've also been one of her biggest criticizers. But at the same time, I criticize her because I feel like she can be doing a lot better. Definitely see a lot of potential in this superstar. And I love Liv. She seems nice, resilient, charismatic. Genuinely, you can see that she tries in the ring, which, which is awesome, which is great. I love that. I love that. And I don't know, it was just kind of crazy how she came from serving at Buffalo Wings at Hooters to being a WWE superstar, where she found during one of her shifts she was able to she saw a wrestler that she had unnamed. And she went up to them, and she asked her about wrestling, and the superstar, the wrestler, could tell that Liv Morgan was a huge wrestling fan from the get go. A lot of passion, a lot of enthusiasm, charisma. So definitely you have to credit Liv Morgan in terms of that. And I don't know, it's kind of crazy. And she hooked her up with a trainer. She hooked her with a trainer. She trained immensely day and night before her shifts, after her shifts at Hooters, and she turned a diehard wrestling fan into what you see before you, Liv Morgan, a WWE superstar. She has heart. She has heart. I absolutely love the fact that she has heart. Definitely not, like I said, definitely not taking anything away from her. But obviously you kind of kind of butter him up a little bit, and now it's time to kind of, bring it down to earth. But she botches moves. She botches moves. She botches wrestling promos. She botches matches, and her promos need a lot of work, like what she did on Monday Night Raw. I feel like her promo wasn't good enough with Becky Lynch. I feel like it was bad. It was really, really bad, but that's, honestly, that's my, God-given opinion. So, if you have anything to say about it, use the GSMC podcast.net. Give me what you guys think about this. And yeah, we'll, go from there. And like I said, does she have what it takes to become the face of the women's division? As of right now, I'm going to say a resounding no. I'm not trying to be mean, not trying to be a jerk, but I feel like Liv Morgan doesn't have what it takes to hold the strap, to be a champion, hold down either the SmackDown card or the Raw card, or even WWE NXT at this moment. I feel like she has a whole bunch of potential, and I just definitely think that she could definitely do better for herself. Definitely that, I don't know if she kind of missed a step. And by all means, she has not had the greatest luck in terms of, wrestling and bookings and storylines and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in actually, approximately like 2 seconds. So she's had great matches, absolutely great matches in the past. So she's capable. She had her 97th-day reign, and I feel for Liv. Her title run ultimately was labeled as a fluke, which was kind of sucky. But it was during that time, during her WWE Women's SmackDown Championship reign, that WWE was doing whatever they could to push Ronda Rousey, which was absolutely detrimental for Liv, basically setting her up to fail. She didn't really have a chance. They're like, okay, you're like that bridge champion. We want you to make Ronda look absolutely dominating. We want you just to basically kind of be that bridge, and that's not her fault. That has nothing to do with her capabilities or her in-ring capabilities. But even Ronda Rousey herself was upset with the bookings of WWE. Said that her and Liv Morgan could have made those matches a lot more memorable, especially at the Extreme Rules match, which I remember watching this match and I thought it was garbage, and so does the two other wrestlers. So don't get on my ass. Ronda Rousey was upset that WWE didn't let Liv Morgan and her incorporate, kind of like the Extreme Rules mantra. Like they wanted to add kendo sticks, tables, chairs, and I think Ronda even talked with Liv about adding, thumbtacks and stuff like that. But ultimately, WWE did not let these two superstars do it their way. Ronda Rousey, although she was the one getting pushed, she ultimately kind of thought it was bad because she wanted, kind of wanted more. Kind of thought this could have, although she was going to get the strap, she was like, you know what, although Liv is going to lose to me, why can't we make this a little more creative? She blamed the WWE writers of only putting in 5 minutes a week toward the WWE storylines in the women's division, which she still definitely holds accountable for the Vince McMahon era, has not yet kind of warmed up to the Paul Levesque era. But Ronda Rousey was right. She was right. Back in the day with the women's division, I feel like even after the women's evolution, there still wasn't really any much, kind of thought put into the storylines. Kind of obviously, one of the victims you saw kind of fall to it was Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, and it ultimately effed up Liv Morgan's career. Her perception of the audience as a champion, basically being the one that Ronda Rousey is going to absolutely demolish, and basically kind of rule on every pay-per-view, every promo. She gets her ass kicked. It's it's tough. It's hard. Feel for Liv. I feel for Liv. Sorry, I feel for Liv. definitely, kind of unfortunate that she kind of landed her chance on, SmackDown as a SmackDown Women's Champion. Ultimately, to kind of, be that bridge champion for, Ronda Rousey to ultimately, kind of kick the crap out of her and, become the champion once again. So, yeah, honestly, guys, that was my Liv Morgan take. Honestly, I am a fan. I love her, and I will root for her. Absolutely, 110%. I will root for Liv Morgan. So yeah, can't hit me on that. So, anyways, don't go anywhere today. We have today in wrestling history. We're going to talk about a couple of events that happened on May 21st, and yeah, let's go in and dig on into that. So hey, don't go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your boy E here with all the cool wrestling factoids. Just to kind of reflect on what we talked about. Segment 1, we talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw a review. We talked about our WWE NXT preview. We also talked about Liv Morgan and her Hollywood aspirations. Is it a right move for her to become an actress instead of a WWE wrestling superstar? If you missed it, go look it up on YouTube. It's absolutely awesome, pretty dope. And we're gonna get into today in wrestling history. So yeah, let's not without further gilding the lily. Let's go ahead and move on here, man. I'm definitely messing up on my vocabulary here. So yeah, we have our today in wrestling history. So let's go ahead and start off with WCW Slamboree 1995. So Slamboree in St. Petersburg, Florida. The main event featured Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage in a reunion. They defeated Vader and Ric Flair. And then that night, you saw the Nasty Boys actually defeat the Harlem Heat for the WCW Tag Team titles. I remember watching snippets of this event. Obviously, in 1995, I wasn't, I was like 3 years old. Although if I did have a good wrestling persona and could thoroughly pay attention to the storylines and stuff like that as a wrestling fan when I was 3 years old, I would probably be the best wrestling fan on a place of the in the United States and all over the world. Because hey man, I was 3 years old. I watched Randy Savage. I watched Hulk Hogan take on Vader and the Nature Boy Ric Flair. But ultimately, that wasn't the case. I just remember watching this, when I was 10 years old, we used to rent old WCW WWF rentals at this place called Gary's TV Video. I don't know if any of you guys remember TV, video stores like Superstar Video, Hollywood Video, and also we had Gary's. We had Gary's Video. New releases cost $2.50 for 3 days, or you can buy a 99-cent movie. Then you can hold that for 5 days. Definitely, you gotta love the old times. The VHS tape players. Let me know in the chat if you have a VHS tape player. I know I do. I have that VHS and that DVD combo. Couldn't beat that, especially if you're. I know I'm giving away my age, right now to kind of like to Q, but good stuff. WCW Slamboree, definitely one of the best, pay-per-views in the, back then during their modern time. So yeah, now we have 2000, where WWE presented Judgment Day. You saw Judgment Day. You saw you saw it in Louisville, Kentucky. Um, the main event saw Triple H defeat The Rock to win the WWF champion in an Iron Man match that was special guest refereed by the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. And so I thought, obviously huge Shawn Michaels fan. Triple H won 6-5, but Triple H's last win, his last pinfall, was because The Undertaker came back, totally throwing away the Ministry of Darkness, the Dead Man, coming back as the American Badass. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He came out on his motorcycle. He's like, I am American Badass, like freaking Kid Rock. I think Kid Rock was the one who sang that song. So definitely thought that was pretty cool. Kind of sucked for The Rock. that like, okay, the Undertaker comes back and why does he want a piece of me? Why does he want to screw me out of the WWF Championship? Next, we have 2001 Monday Night Raw. Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit defeated Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Tag Team titles. You kind of have the double champions there. With Stone Cold Steve Austin with Triple H, it was they were a total like package. And I see a little fettuccine 68 King Tama. Honestly, that's a possibility. I would love to see maybe their bookings. WWE Tamatonga. I could see that if Jey Uso would have moved on and kind of created this wedge definitely between the bloodline, which would be awesome. If Tamatonga was to win the King of the Ring, I don't want him to win against Gunther because I feel like that would be kind of bad, and wrestling fans could be like, you know what, that seemed kind of forced. That just seemed like it didn't really make sense. So if Tamatonga was going to win the King of the Ring, I feel like it would have been against Jey Uso, thanks to outside bloodline interference. But, that's thank you, Little Fettuccine 68, for commenting. Definitely keep them coming, baby. Keep them coming. So, kind of moving forward more, like I said, we have this tag team match. You saw Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit win, and this was ultimately the match that kind of started Triple H's quad injuries, where he tore his quad in the middle of the match and was actually miraculously still able to kind of compete, kind of put on a show, keep that, kind of sold it as a kayfabe injury, but yeah, no, definitely. It was kind of crazy how Triple H got injured, against this tag team between Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. So, moving on, we have 2006 Judgment Day. 2006 Judgment Day. We saw Rey Mysterio retain his WWE World Heavyweight Championship against JBL. You also saw King Booker. King Booker was born. He was able to win the King of the Ring and ultimately created that King Booker mentality. Definitely love my boy Little Fettuccine 68. Does Gunther really need a King of the Ring to honestly, yeah. Well, I can't really dispute that fact. I feel like he's pushed already. I would think that Gunther would be kind of heading toward a SummerSlam match for Damian Priest, perhaps. Well, no, I don't know, because I would love to see Finn Balor and Damian Priest go at it. Like, you have that Judgment Day Civil War. But honestly, I think Gunther doesn't need to do a damn thing right now. He has so much success. He's the ring general. He's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. Definitely think that does he need to push to kind of further himself in terms of like a WWE heavyweight championship, persona? Yeah. Honestly, I would love Gunther to win. I would love to see Gunther and Ilya Dragunov to fight in the finals, but obviously Ilya was drafted to Monday Night Raw, so we couldn't see that. Randy Orton against Gunther, it'd be kind of cool, but I wouldn't see why Tama Tonga would move on if they were just sending somebody to lose to Gunther. So definitely good questions. Love it. Keep them coming. Yeah. So like I said, Rey Mysterio defeated and retained against JBL. JBL was ultimately kind of like the big dog, kind of like that guy that was going to totally kick Rey Mysterio's ass. But Rey Mysterio, the ultimate underdog, him and Liv Morgan, the ultimate underdogs, were able to kind of, pull one out of their butts, make the win, get the victory. You saw that at Judgment Day. Pretty badass. And King Booker defeated Bobby Lashley to win the King of the Ring. So, love that. Absolutely 110%. So moving on. So in 2011, Sinclair Broadcasting, one of the largest media companies in the United States, purchased Ring of Honor. And Ring of Honor Supercard was also held on this date. Honor Card V1, which is 6, took place in Chicago. Eddie Edwards retained his Ring of Honor World Championship against Roderick Strong. So definitely something pretty cool. And this day also showed in 2017, WWE SmackDown presented Backlash, where you saw one of the most shocking moments in WWE history. You saw the modern day Maharaja defeat the Legend Killer, Randy Orton, to win the WWE World Championship. So, definitely love the modern day Maharaja. Kind of sad he didn't really get his kind of contract back in WWE, but good things are to come. He's very, very talented. So I think Jinder Mahal, he has a pretty talented future. Don't let this get you down, bro. Don't let this get you down. Well, lastly, we're going to talk about, we have 9 minutes to talk about this. We have our Women's World Wrestling Power Rankings. I'm going to give you guys the top 10 women's superstars from exactly a week. Who's done the best in the week, who's ultimately like kind of like being promoted, who's represented their company well, their title, if they even hold a title, or like just ultimately like their momentum in their career right now. So hey, don't go anywhere. All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your boy E here with all your wrestling factoids. Just to kind of reflect on what we talked about here. We talked about WWE Monday Night Raw review, our WWE NXT preview. We also talked about Liv Morgan going to Hollywood. Is it good for her career? Is it time for her to hang up her boots in terms of wrestling? Maybe, maybe not. Listen to the segment. Uh, and segment 4, we talked about today in wrestling history, May 21st. A lot of cool things happening. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our fifth and final. I keep wanting to say fourth because for the longest time we did 4 segments. So, for the fifth and final segment, I want to talk about our women's wrestling power rankings. So, let's go ahead and jump right on into that. So I'm going to give you guys my power rankings in terms of the women's divisions, and this means Ring of Honor, this means TNA, Raw, SmackDown, all over the wrestling globe. So yeah, let's go ahead and go ahead and start. So first and foremost, at number 10, I have Sol Ruca. Sol Ruca is obviously one of the best, kind of wrestlers that's, coming out of NXT. She got injured, but she recently qualified for the WWE NXT Battleground, North American Women's Championship match at NXT Battleground. And I don't know, she just seems really, really good. I can see, the most of this part is like, I can see a title around her waist. I can see her kind of being that total baby face. Or, hey, if WWE wants her to go heel, I would still love Sol Ruca, which shows that she has so much star power. She has the fans behind her back. And there's no doubt in my mind that this girl would definitely be, one of the best wrestlers, female wrestlers in terms of the women's division and, all over the wrestling globe. So, pretty cool. Number 10, I have Sol Ruca. Number 9, I got Bayley. I love Bayley, and I know she is the WWE Women's Champion, but she recently fought a match with Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. Not really too big superstars to kind of fight against in the title match. Like you have the up and coming Tiffany Stratton, and you have the kind of the older like Naomi. So if that was her first title defense, I don't think it's as good as like someone like a Roxanne Perez who's defended her title like probably like 3 or 4 times by now. But I love Bayley. Love the fact that she winded up as a babyface. And by all means, if you're on the list and if you're number 9, you also have to realize you're number 9. You made it to the top 10 out of hundreds of women's wrestlers all over the globe. So, Bayley, if you're watching this, don't take this too personal, man. Don't take this too crazy because, you made it on the list. Absolutely crazy. Good for you. Love Bayley as a babyface. Do not ever, ever turn to a heel again because that would be absolutely terrible. And once again, I got Little Fettuccine 68 talking who will turn heel, Jade or Belair. I think Belair. I feel like Bella. Well, recently she's been kind of rumored to like be pregnant, so she might be taking some time away from the WWE. But before that, I would have loved to see Bianca Belair go heel. I've actually did a couple podcasts about that. I think it was like a couple weeks ago. Um, Honestly, just let me know who would you think would be better, Cargo or Belair going heel. I like Jade coming out of AEW. Um, but it'd be kind of cool. Kind of have that mantra, kind of that persona, like that. Although people know that Jade is from AEW, the moment she makes it to the WWE roster, she does everything she can to kind of sabotage the women's division. And everybody in the back of their minds, they're like, "Oh yeah, Jade was totally AEW. She's totally taking it to these dumb WWE stars." Like that would be cool in that aspect. But ultimately, I don't know. I would say Belair would probably be a better heel because people, exactly. Honestly, that's 1,010% correct. Belair needs to be repackaged. Absolutely. That probably sums up everything because, like, she was a former WWE Women's Champion, lost it to Io Sky with her Money in the Bank cash in, and she just needs another purpose. She needs another purpose. I feel like, her with that frustrations, and then you saw her frustrations with Bailey and, Naomi kind of moving forward. And it was just, I don't know, it was just kind of, you can kind of sense the tension, like kind of what I mentioned when you saw that promo on Friday Night SmackDown, where you saw Jade Cargill and Belair kind of come to each other and be like, "Yeah, we're tag team partners. Yes, we are the women's world tag team champions. But ultimately, if this ever happens between us and Queen of the Ring, I'm gonna take you down, girl." And like that subconscious, that intensity, would be pretty cool. It'd be pretty awesome to see what they do with that. And the pay-per-view thoughts moving from Sunday, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be probably one of the best Jeddah Saudi Arabia pay-per-views that we've had. I would say in ever. I would say honestly in ever because without Vince McMahon, because we've had some pretty bad ones in Jeddah Saudi Arabia and Riyadh. Like it just this needs to be good. This needs to be good because so much people, I know me as a wrestling fan, I see these pay-per-views coming to Saudi Arabia, and part of me is like, you know what? Any matches that kind of happen at Crown Jewel are kind of like, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but kind of like BS matches. Like it's not really going to matter toward their storyline. There's not going to be any title changes, and if there is, it's going to be the United States Championship or like one of the tag team championships. So I feel like this pay per view, in order to kind of establish kind of like a credibility for Saudi Arabia, I feel like this needs to be good. So definitely looking forward to that. So yeah, let's go to move on to our number 8. Number 8, I have Lash Legend. I love Lash Legend definitely in the power rankings for the WWE Women's Division. She recently been kind of, she's been kind of, flirting with Trick Williams and kind of showing metaphor that like, hey, it's not Trick that's going to do this at all. And then I love that with her. And then I love the fact that she was a WNBA star and she made it to the to the SmackDown or, made it to WWE in general. Like that's pretty cool. That's pretty badass. Love that. You can kind of see it in her matches that this girl has so much potential. I can see, she qualified for the ladder match at NXT Battleground for the inaugural WWE NXT Women's North American Championship. Definitely think it's going to be hard to kind of knock her off. She has a bright future ahead of her. Absolutely 110%. Can't wait to see what she does next. All right, number 7, we have Lyra Valkyrie. Lyra Valkyrie, although she did lose her championship to Roxanne Perez at Spring Break-In, she's been absolutely impressive as hell. She's in the finals with the Queen of the Ring representing Monday Night Raw. Like, who does that? Like, that's crazy. This girl is her, man. This girl's gonna absolutely kick ass. Love the fact that she's doing this, strictly from winning the WWE draft, coming to Monday Night Raw, showing the world that she's no one to be kind of put to the side. So absolutely love Lyra Valkyrie in this position. All right, number 6, I have Roxanne Perez. Love Roxanne Perez. Like I said before, out of all the WWE Women's Champions or whatever, I feel like she's kind of been the one to defend her title more, kind of be stuck in these, storylines or predicaments or bookings that where she kind of has to, take care of the match, kind of has to take care of the promo, kind of has to sell herself as a total heel. So obviously a lot of responsibility on that. A lot of people think that being the jerk is such an easy thing. Dude, hey, yeah, man, go out there, be a giant jerk off. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to sell the fans. It's not that easy to fool the WWE universe. I know for my end, sometimes I see heels like I saw in Bailey, and I kept watching. I was like, awful. Absolutely awful. Bailey was one of the worst heels in WWE history. Better as a babyface. Love to kind of see her back as a total babyface. So yeah, definitely. So yeah, next we have our number 5. Number 5, we're gonna talk about Toni Storm. Love Toni Storm, the way she's been, kind of in the AEW. Um, this girl can't lose. She cuts amazing promos. Definitely something Liv Morgan should probably pay attention to. Not trying to be a jerk, but Toni Storm, she's came from WWE. Definitely one of the wrestlers or the superstars that WWE probably wish they would have, signed before she ultimately kind of had to leave. But I love Toni Storm. Definitely wish the best for her. She's kind of heading toward Double or Nothing. She's against, man, Renee something. I can't put my nail on the head. If you guys know, who she's fighting in Double or Nothing, put it in the chat. Let me know. But Toni Storm, she's good. She's good. She cuts good promos. She has good matchups, and yeah, looking forward to see her at Double or Nothing on Sunday. So it should be pretty awesome. Next, we have Becky Lynch at number 4. Becky Lynch at number 4. Becky Lynch, where whenever she gets into a match or a storyline or another superstar, even if another superstar is trying to cut a good promo, ultimately the responsibility is on the person cutting the promo. But Becky Lynch finds a way to validate that, even if it's a shitty promo, she's able to kind of, make it up, kind of be like, okay, yeah, this is intense. Like, you're telling me this, you're telling me that. Like, she kind of swings it along, and then the heel like that's like, yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Becky Lynch has definitely been carrying the women's division for the longest time. Definitely deserves that spot at number 4. What's going to put her at number 1, but there's just so many amazing wrestlers in the women's division. At number 3, I'll have Willow of Nightingale. Willow of Nightingale, she's the AEW TBS champion, going to fight Mercedes Moné at Double or Nothing. But this girl's just a star. She's a total star. She's like a dynamo in terms of like just professional wrestling. This girl's been all over the wrestling circuit. She deserves respect. She's a great role model. She recently visited a wrestling high school just to kind of tell, like, I think just to kind of be like, hey, like your wrestling dreams could come true too. So I love Willow of Nightingale. Definitely think she's the best baby face that AEW has to offer. If Mercedes Moné loses, no, if Mercedes Moné wins against Willow at AEW Double or Nothing, I will organize a giant riot and we will tear down Tony Khan's house. We will tear down AEW. We will tear down Turner Broadcasting. I tell you. And I'm just kidding. But ultimately, love Willow Nightingale. Out of every wrestler in the women's division, all over the professional wrestling industry, she's definitely busted her ass to get to the position where she's at right now. So absolute respect. Love that. Running out of time rapidly. So number 2, we have Athena. Athena, the longest reigning Ring of Honor a women's heavyweight champion. Loved her in WWF, WWE, but they had to screw up and mess up her bookings to the point where she was great. She was great in NXT, made it onto the Raw, main card. They didn't really do crap with her. They didn't, really live up to the hype and didn't like help her reach her potential that she could possibly do. So honestly, for her failing in the WWE has absolutely reflects on her absolutely nothing at all. It's all about WWE and the creative that there was run during the Vince McMahon era. So, way to mess that up. You lost another good superstar. And number one of the women's division, women's wrestling power rankings. Number 1, we have TNA Knockouts world champion Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace continues to be just so impressive. No one can take her down. No one could cut good promos like her. In her matches, she's absolutely dominant. And look at her physique. Like, she's absolute. Oh man, like she's amazing. She's definitely one of the best women's wrestlers in. I don't know. I kind of really liked her coming to the WWE in the Royal Rumble. Definitely wish. I kind of thought if she would have won the Royal Rumble, it would have been absolutely like mind blowing. Would have been pretty awesome. But obviously that didn't happen. But it was cool to see her in the WWE. In the future, for her career, I wouldn't mind to see her go into the WWE at all. Totally go in there and kick ass would be awesome. A nice feud with her and Nia Jax would be, oh man, that bust out your popcorn, bust out your sodas, bring your milk duds, Sour Patch Kids, and Red Vines to this amazing theatrical match between the irresistible force and the strongest there is, Jordan Grace. So that'd be pretty badass. Jordan Grace is definitely the best women's wrestler on the face of this planet as of today. So yeah, that was my power ranking, my women's wrestling power rankings. Hope you guys like it. And before I end it off real quick, want to acknowledge my boy Little Fettuccine 68. Is Jacob Fatu going to be at the pay-per-view? Maybe. But there's been a lot of speculations that they do not want Jacob to debut because they have not really kind of created Solo Sikoa and kind of have not like built him up to kind of be this tribal chief persona. He's not ready. He's not ready yet. So they fear that if Jacob comes in, it would absolutely destroy kind of the upbringing, kind of like WWE, building blocks, trying to get Solo Sikoa to be like, oh, Solo Sikoa is this badass guy. He's the tribal chief. He'll mess up anybody, man. So it would be, kind of crazy to see Jacob Fatu, make his debut. But ultimately, and hey, man, peace. Thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. We're live every day, Monday through Friday. Definitely 110%. Absolutely loved it. Thank you for making this, wrestling show a lot more interactive. Definitely for making one of the best shows I've ever hosted. So thank you so much. Respect. So, yeah, let's go ahead and, I hope you guys liked my show. And you're gonna hit me. Oh, what's your favorite Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie? Ooh, you know what? I think that's the same question I asked my boy Nelson from the GSMC basketball podcast. My favorite Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie. Uh, Probably. I think Nelson brought this up. I think Moana. Moana, because I'm a Disney dad. I'm a Disney dork. What could I say except you're welcome? And I think he did really good in that role. Absolutely 110%. Sure, his face wasn't on there, but I feel like, my favorite Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie is, Moana, and totally kind of, pulling a 180. I would definitely probably see him Faster. I don't know if you watched Faster, where he was this complete badass, where his brother and his gang was like a bank, band of bank robbers, eventually caught up by another group that wanted to steal their money. And it was just, total badass, absolutely love it. And thank you once again, Little Fettuccine, for, 68 for being my boy tonight. So, yeah, make sure you tune in to tomorrow's show. It made the show a hell of a lot better with you in it. So, guys, like I said, thank you so much for tuning into my show. The GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to, Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show, and just leave a positive review. Leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity all the way, 100%, and it really does make a difference, guys. And honestly, really, 100% does. We also invite you guys to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. And once again, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, we have the NBA playoffs absolutely heating up. A lot of good analysis going into these games. What to expect from the Indiana Pacers, the Boston Celtics, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Dallas Mavericks. I can't believe I forgot the Dallas Mavericks because they're so forgettable. I'm just kidding. My boy Nelson on the GSMC Basketball Podcast has all your cool stuff, has all the good stuff heading into the matchups, so you can watch it. So you can watch it with like a mindful of experience and be like, oh shit, like that's crazy. We also have my boy Kenneth on football, talking football all the time. We all know the NFL in terms of headlines and breaking news. It's totally king. Can't beat out the NFL. We also have Hoops and Heels, your one-stop shop for women's wrestling, for women's sports. We also have the Andrew Tate Show. Definitely good things. We have, just sports. TJ, Jeremy, sports. So it's good. It's good. So make sure you, listen to the GSMC Sports Network, and it's absolutely free. You don't have to pay for absolutely anything. It's absolutely free. We love podcasting. We love talking about sports. It's a passion of ours. And we want to bring you guys into this family. It's the bloodline of the GSMC Sports Network. So, guys, honestly, once again, thank you for tuning into the show and have a phenomenal night.
Mm-hmm. 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 Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work. Mm-hmm. 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 Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work. Mm-hmm. 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 Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow.